Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rachah HaKodash. Double honors to my other apostles, a great millstone, and peace and citation to the hopeful members of the elect, the Bacharim, the house of David, that's been preordained, predestined to get delivered in these last times and to be the ruling governing body of the nation of Yasharahla. This is a World War III update. This is from The Hill. It says Petraeus predicts U.S. would lead NATO response to take out Russian forces if Putin uses nuclear weapon. Okay, so you can see this World War III is brewing up. Now we know that the RFID chip, the MOTB, has to be implemented mandatory first, Revelation 13 chapter. But we can see the gradual process of this World War III brewing up, okay? And the Lord is definitely putting hooks into Russia's jaws, turning them back to that USSR state of mind again, okay? Using Putin to dominate, to establish that power that Russia once had before. So it says, retired General David Petraeus predicted Sunday that the U.S., along with NATO allies, would take out Russian forces if Russian President Vladimir Putin decided to use nuclear weapons in his war against neighboring Ukraine. During an appearance on ABC's this week, Petraeus told co-anchor Jonathan Karl that Western powers, America, have to take Russia's nuclear weapons threat seriously, noting National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan's recent remarks that U.S. officials have warned the Moscow of catastrophic consequences if the Kremlin deploys nuclear weapons. And that would happen, Karl asked. Well, again, I have deliberately not talked to Jake about this. I mean, just give you a hypothetical. We will respond by leading a collective effort that will take out every Russian conventional force that we can see and identify on the battlefield in Ukraine and also in Crimea and every ship in the Black Sea, Petraeus replied. And this is a war. That will be an outbreak of World War III completely, because the U.S. is going to involve NATO, of course, and it'll be the U.S. allies against Russia's allies. You have to remember that Russia has its own allies. It even says in the scriptures, which I will get, okay? But Russia has its own allies. This will be a World War III, a complete outbreak of World War III. It says, yes, and perhaps you can make that case. The other case is that this is so horrific that there has to be a response. It cannot go unanswered, but it doesn't expand. It doesn't. It's not nuclear for nuclear, Petraeus added, and it will get to nuclear for nuclear. And America will be nuked, all right, 100%. This place, actually, America's own allies will turn on this place. It tells you that in Revelation, the 17th chapter, how the 10 horns are going to burn this place. Let me get it, actually. I'll come back to this. But America's own allies will turn against America and burn this place. All right, Revelation 17, verse verse 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Right. So this is going to NATO. You see, the allies of America, they're going to turn against America and burn this place. You see, it says, and that was it actually. But let me read it again. In the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, okay, the beast this beast system. Esau, Edom's kingdom. These shall hate the whore, that's America. All right, Babylon, the mystery Babylon, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. How can a whole nation burn with fire? The only possible explanation is nuclear missiles. Okay, so let's return. Bear me for 1 second. Let me just pause this. Okay, back again, and it continues. Petrus added, all right, you don't want to, again, get into a nuclear escalation here, but you have to show that this cannot be accepted in any way. Petrus' remarks come after Russian President Vladimir Putin on Friday moved ahead with illegally annexing 4 regions of eastern and southern Ukraine. So he took over those regions. A move that followed a series of setbacks for Russian forces as the war enters its 8th month. Putin has also declared a partial military troop mobilization that could call up as many as 300,000 reservists. Russia is also suspected of causing a pipeline rupture that caused a massive methane leak, and that was a false flag right there. I mean, the rupture obviously happened, but they're blaming it on Russia. Most likely, the U.S. had a hand in that, and they're blaming it on Russia. You see, they're trying to control the narrative that Russia did it. Okay, and that's going to affect Europe as well. Especially we're coming to the wintertime. It says, and Putin has threatened to cut off gas supplies to European countries as winter approaches. Okay, and that's gonna be detrimental to Europe. All right, people will freeze, and they're already experiencing a low food supply. Okay, so you're seeing Second Ezra 15, the 15th chapter, hopping out the pages. Okay, people are gonna riot. Sedition among men all over again. People are gonna die, freeze to death. Okay, it's gonna get very bad. We just have to keep our eyes on these current events that's happening. It says Petrus said it's clear that Putin wants European countries to suffer as long as they try to isolate Moscow over its invasion of Ukraine. Well, he's trying to cast this in any way that he can, in a way to appear threatening to try to get Europe to crack. He thinks he can outsuffer Europe, if you will, Petrus said. And the Russians have outsuffered Napoleon and the Nazis and so forth, but I don't think he's going to outsuffer Europe. Europe's going to have a tough winter. There's going to be very reduced flow of natural gas, but they'll get through it. And I don't think they'll crack on the issue of support for Ukraine. So that was it. But again, you're seeing this World War III brew up, okay? And the Lord is putting the hooks into Russia's jaws, all right? You see Putin annexing, it said, regions in northern Ukraine and southern, all right? Because Ukraine once belonged to Russia before they became an independent nation. All right, let's get Ezekiel 38 verse 1, and the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, that's Russia, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against them, and say, Thus saith the Lord power, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, bringing them back to that USSR state of mind again. And I will bring thee forth in all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. And you see Russia doing military drills, all right? Their military is pretty advanced. They have nuclear capabilities. Just look up Satan 1. That can actually destroy the landmass France, no, Texas actually, which Texas and France are like the same landmass, but one missile can destroy Texas alone. So Russia has a very advanced military. Persia, that's Iran, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. Gomer and all his bands, Turkey, the House of Togomar, all of the North Quarters and all his bands, and many people with thee. Okay, so these are the Russian allies. Okay, so you just heard what the former General Petraeus said, how the U.S. would lead NATO to response of of Russia's if he goes through with this nuclear attack on Ukraine, and eventually it will involve a World War III outbreak. It will involve the U.S. and NATO going against Russia and their allies. Okay, so this is gonna happen. All right, World War III will happen. Okay, and it's prophecy. It has to happen. Bear me for 1 second. Slovakia. Bear me for 1 second. Let me just type it up. If I can't find the scripture. Oh, here it is. Revelation 11, verse 14. The second war was past. That was World War II, which happened between 1939. Okay. And it's kind of ironic how the same thing is happening all over again, because Germany, how World War II popped off with how World War II popped off, it was Germany invading Poland. They were doing aerial bombings. So Putin wants to bomb the Ukraine if anybody steps in. And that will involve World War III popping off. But of course, the RFID chip has to happen first. It has to be mandatory first. But we're seeing the gradual process, all right? We're seeing everything being laid, right in front of us. The stage is being set, you see? This is all being done by Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, who the world ignorantly calls God, Yahweh, and who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, the Most High's only begotten Son, Yahushai. Okay? And behold, the third woe cometh quickly, World War III. Okay? So it's coming. So I just wanted to give that update. Lord willing, this was edifying. Giving all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Rachah HaKodash. Double honors to my apostles, a great millstone, and peace and salutation to the hopeful members of the elect. Shalom.